Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where a police officer barged into a house without warning and then threw a mentally unstable woman to the ground before placing her in handcuffs for no reason. On May 6, 2016, a man named Philip Cromer called 911 and spoke to a Hinesburg Police Department dispatcher, informing them that his wife, namely Lori Ann Karen, was in a bad mental state since her sister had died the week before. Mr. Cromer initially wanted assistance, but soon made it very clear on the call that there was no need for any officer to respond. In fact, as we will now hear, dashcam footage proved that dispatchers actually informed the responding officers that the situation had calmed down and there was no need to respond. But despite this, officers Cameron Colthorpe and Jeremy Hulshoff decided to continue on their way, soon arriving at the couple's house. The entire encounter was captured on the officers' dash cams and body cams. Listen closely to dispatch while the officers make their way to the address.
There you go, Jeremy. Get it.
Mail back on 911 situation seems to have calmed slightly. Still need to respond. That's on 2325. Mail advising minor medical issue to himself. He's denying need for rescue.
Let's just go ahead and secure her.
Someone needs to go away, that's for sure.
Hey, it's Central 20 Vermont. Hey, George Nora Yankee.
If you heard closely enough, dispatch very clearly mentioned that 1. The situation had settled and there was no assistance needed, and 2. The husband refused any medical assistance. Both these details should have been enough for the officers to call it off and not respond, but they did the complete opposite. And at the very least, even if they were responding anyway, their actions were certainly unjustified, as we heard one of the officers say, "Let's just go ahead and secure her." Not just that, the officer also said, "Someone needs to go away, that's for sure." Both these statements simply prove that the officers had somehow pre-decided that they would escalate the ordeal even though everything had settled down. Plus, as if things weren't already bad enough, the officers didn't even bother announcing their presence before simply barging into the house. The thing is, even if the officers had a search warrant that would allow them to force themselves inside the house, they would still need to announce their presence. Note that law enforcement officers must identify themselves and announce their purpose before using force to enter a dwelling with a search warrant. In Wilson v. Arkansas, the Supreme Court held that the manner in which law enforcement officers enter a dwelling is subject to review by a court to decide whether the officers acted reasonably under the Fourth Amendment. If the officers mismanage the entry, even with a validly issued warrant, a reviewing court can suppress the fruit of the search. Now let's continue watching as the situation takes a ridiculous turn.
Hey, what's your hand finding back?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Keep your hands behind your back. Do you understand me?
Behind your back, Lori. Calm down.
Stop twisting your arm. Stop.
Stop it, Lori.
Stop. Do you hear me?
Okay.
No! Get my hands down!
All right.
Now,
If I put these handcuffs on when you're struggling, it's going to hurt you.
Okay, officers, listen. She has some mental illness, and she can't have her hands cuffed behind her back and be stuck in that little back seat.
I can't do that right now. I'm going to put her behind her back right now until she calms down.
Until she calms down, then do that. But you can't cuff her in that little seat
All
back
right,
there.
relax, ma'am.
She will have a nervous breakdown.
Ma'am, listen to me. Listen
Lori,
to me.
stop it, Lori.
Listen.
I will call your mother, but listen.
I told you, stop
Okay,
moving your
listen.
hand.
Stop moving.
Relax so I can put these handcuffs on you comfortably.
Come on, Lori, calm down. Can you at least double cuff her? She's got serious claustrophobic issues.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
First,
Lori. Okay, now her nose is bleeding. Something's bleeding on her face. Okay. I want medical assistance here.
We will get it for you, sir. Stop hitting your head.
Okay.
Hold her head.
Yeah. All right. I got you.
No.
I know, Lord. Oh, Jesus.
Stop hitting.
What?
Don't hit your head down on the ground, man. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Oh, my mother.
I don't think that was her. Actually,
Got her.
that was you.
Okay, let's listen. I want you to sit up.
As seen in the footage, after the officers barged through the door into the house, Miss Karen could be seen sitting calmly at a table and her husband was standing near the door. There was absolutely no signs of anything concerning or troublesome. But despite that, Officer Colthrop ran up to Miss Karen, grabbed her from behind, spun her around, and violently threw her to the floor. What's worse is that Miss Karen's head struck the corner of a chair and then the floor. This caused her head to immediately start bleeding. Now, it goes without saying that Officer Colthrop's actions and use of force were totally unjustified. So this is an appropriate time to discuss the legal side of things. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures. Arrests and detentions are considered seizures under the law. Traditionally, courts held that any seizure required probable cause to believe that the person being seized had committed a crime. However, in 1968, the U.S. Supreme Court created an exception to the probable cause rule. It held that the police could temporarily detain suspects as long as they had reasonable suspicion, a lower standard than probable cause, to believe the person being detained was involved in criminal conduct. What's very important to highlight is that an officer must be able to articulate specific facts that led to a reasonable suspicion that the suspect is involved in criminal activity. Judging by these facts, it becomes even more evident that Officer Colthrop had illegally detained Miss Karen, as there was no ongoing criminal activity whatsoever. And to make things worse, both officers continued to try and restrain Miss Karen even though her husband informed them that she was having mental issues at the time, plus she was claustrophobic. It was almost as if they were determined to place her in handcuffs, even though there was no valid reason to do so. Instead, the officers tried to blame it on her. Listen closely to the excuses made.
Sit up. Let's see what's bleeding on her face.
That was you when you cuffed her. There wasn't any reason for that.
Well, she jumped on you.
No, she didn't.
Sir,
You have a camera.
go sit over there. Go sit down.
Okay.
Go sit down.
Now I'm the culprit.
Go sit down.
I'm sitting down.
All right, so you mind just taking a seat for me?
Me? No, I'm going to call 911 again.
They already have rescues on the way.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure. There was no reason for that.
So what was going on today?
The same stuff was going on for 2 days. She's been nuts.
Well, I haven't been...
I
Okay.
called the cops twice. You've been here twice already.
All
There
right,
was no reason for that. She was just sitting there, and he just threw her on the ground and
Listen.
smashed her face. Well, no.
If you want to file some complaint, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, and make sure your cameras are working.
What has been going on today specifically before there was two other officers here? What was that situation?
She's been freaking out, having some bad incidents, bad memories about her sister and her brother.
Okay.
She's mentally ill.
Okay.
And everybody knows that. You should have known that on the way here. Instead, you do this to her? She didn't need this.
What is specifically, so anything physical going on between you two?
No, she's thrown stuff around here.
Okay.
But no, she hasn't assaulted me or anything physical.
What did the other two officers, when they were here, what would
decided that it would be okay if she stayed.
Okay.
We had medical assistants here. The chief was here.
Okay.
And that's who I really want back is the chief. So.
Okay. Well, if rescue's coming, so he'll be coming as well.
All right. This is ridiculous. I hope your cameras are working.
It's going.
That was ridiculous.
What's...
Well, she's claustrophobic.
Well, sir.
Yep. She's got medical issues. They knew that.
Step back.
They knew that. I already have. The chief and everyone's on the way. Hang on her. Why can't you front cuff her? She's claustrophobic.
Sir, this is not your situation. Step back and stay away.
I've been dealing with this situation for over 24 hours. Yeah, I have stepped back.
She's my...
What's the reason for what's been going on now?
She's
Medication
been
or...
suicidal. I'm not sure how her medicine's going.
Sit down. I'm not to hold on to you.
But
You got to stop flailing around. You're gonna...
Now, did she
she's
hurt
thrown
herself
stuff-
earlier?
Yes.
Okay. What?
Yes, she hurt herself, but you know, this is ridiculous.
If you didn't catch it, Officer Colthorpe noticed that Miss Karen was bleeding, and that's when Mr. Cromer mentioned that it was because of the way he threw her to the floor. Instead of manning up to it and admitting his mistake, Officer Colthorpe made a bizarre excuse, saying that Miss Karen tried to jump up at him. As we know, this was a total lie, and Officer Colthorpe was basically trying to cover up the fact that he threw an innocent lady to the floor for nothing. Mr. Cromer, his own words, even told the officers that what they were doing was ridiculous and unnecessary. He even explained the whole situation to them, but a very important point to keep in mind is that he made it clear that there was no domestic issue at all. This comes into play later on. But before that, let's take a moment to analyze the use of force employed by Officer Colthorpe. According to the statewide policy on police use of force published by the Criminal Justice Council of Vermont, it's made clear that a law enforcement officer shall use only the force objectively reasonable, necessary, and proportional to effect an arrest, to prevent escape, or to overcome resistance of a person the officer has reasonable cause to believe has committed a crime, or to achieve any other lawful law enforcement objective. Whenever feasible, officers shall allow individuals reasonable time to submit to arrest or detention before force is used. Also, use of force is intended only to control behaviors and situations while accomplishing a lawful purpose. It is never intended to be punitive. Officers must constantly reassess the totality of the circumstances in any encounter where force is necessary to gain compliance from an individual. Therefore, as per the policy, we can confidently say that Officer Colthorpe had violated the legal protocol and acted unjustly against Miss Karen, who was not only innocent but posed absolutely no threat either. In other words, Officer Colthorpe had used an excessive amount of force, which is simply illegal.
Yeah, it's 23. You have rescue en route. For her, she has a wound on the head that's bleeding. Wound on the head that's bleeding.
But what you did to her was ridiculous.
Sir, you're not helping the situation now.
Sir, the chief is on the way and rescue's on the way. All right.
You concentrate on calming her down.
I'm
trying to keep her from flailing.
Your mom's not answering your phone.
Oh, no,
Your mom's not answering your phone.
please, no. No.
She's claustrophobic. She can't have those. She can't be restrained like
We
this.
don't have a choice.
No.
You did have a choice until you. Oh, yeah.
No.
Lori,
Help me.
I can't help you.
Help me.
Where did she hurt herself before?
She cut her fingers before. It was minor.
Okay, and that was
Nothing
earlier.
major.
That was earlier today.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Nothing on her face until you guys got here.
Oh, my God.
If I let go,
All right. So, what do you think is the best course of action from here? Do you think that she'd be better for her to go to the hospital, or are you fine with her staying here?
Well, we've already been through this. She's probably going to need to go to the hospital, especially now. Her nose
This is
might be
now the twice that we've been here, so
broken. Actually, it's
it doesn't
3
seem-
times.
today.
No, once last
Okay, we were
night.
here last night. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wasn't here earlier, and I wasn't on
It's a
last
medical
night.
and psychological issue, and you know, it did not call for that. That was uncalled for and ridiculous.
Okay. Chief's going to be on the
It
way.
was ridiculous.
Our sergeant's going to be here.
Yeah, I know the chief. He's going to be here in a few minutes, and he better review the camera because you didn't even say anything. You just walked in,
What?
picked her up, and slammed her face first on the ground. And that is ridiculous.
It sounds as if the officers on the scene really didn't think much of what they had just done. Neither of the two sounded remorseful or sorry. They instead tried to make it appear that they had carried out the usual routine of responding to such a call. Speaking of which, remember the fact that Mr. Cromer stated there was no domestic issue? Well, you will be surprised to learn that the Heinsberg Police Chief Frank Koss later commented on this incident, stating that they, the officers, were responding to a call of a domestic assault. That's a fact. We undergo the same mental health response training that all officers in the state receive, and we are all current on that training. This goes to show that even the police chief remained ignorant on the matter. More on this in just a moment. Let's continue watching the rest of the body cam footage.
Lori, try to calm down.
No. The cigarettes I never drank. Oh, my God. I'm never going to be able to live here again.
Blood all over the floor.
ma'am.
A little more comfy. Ma'am, you're not going to go anywhere.
Ma'am, have a seat.
I can't. Oh, my hand.
Okay, just calm down.
Oh, my
Tied up
Have a
like
seat.
that.
Oh my God! Help
She
me!
wasn't acting like that.
Help
I
me!
just came in.
Help me!
Floor.
Help me!
Relax, relax.
Lori, calm down.
Oh my God.
I know, calm down. Whole side of her face is cut up. Her ear. She never even said anything.
Okay, ma'am. If you
Yeah.
calm,
No, you have
okay?
to scared to get some.
She's claustrophobic.
No,
She's,
oh my God, my hands.
she's gonna, you know, she's gonna have a heart attack if you keep this up.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Just let her out of the handcuffs.
Inside of that. What's your name again?
Lori,
Lori, can you stop for me for a second?
she can't.
If we take the handcuffs off, will you stop this and just sit quietly?
Yes.
Okay. And you're not going to act up? Okay.
No more.
Yeah. But it's not going to go well for you if you act up.
Just
all
sit
right?
there and be calm,
So just
Lori.
stay in the chair.
Stay in the
The
chair and
EMS
be calm.
people will come. They'll check out your ear.
Oh my God.
So listen to what was
Here, you can have a
Let's
divorce.
deal with divorces later.
Yeah,
Just
we'll deal with that
chill
later.
out. Have a cigarette.
Yes, I will.
Is that you or her?
No, that's her.
Okay.
It's all over the floor and everything. Who did?
You got a big old
your
cut on
hands
the
and
back.
we got
Oh, I got a nick on my
Let's
hand.
not worry about that right
This
now,
is from
okay?
her.
Okay.
Lori,
Lori, come on.
Lori,
Lori.
Lori, Lori,
Man.
Lori.
Lori. Come on, you okay?
Lori,
Come on.
let me take care of you.
Come on.
Give me a medical bag with oxygen.
Ultimately, it was reported that Miss Karen suffered a broken rib, facial injuries and a concussion, an injured elbow, and from post-traumatic stress disorder. Several weeks after, on June 21, 2016, Miss Karen filed an excessive force lawsuit against the Heinsberg Police Department, naming the officers as defendants. The lawsuit alleges that because of the police officers' illegal and unconstitutional conduct, Karen has suffered serious bodily, emotional, and psychological injuries. Brooks MacArthur, a Burlington attorney representing Karen, said in an interview that the incident points to issues with how law enforcement responds to mental health crises. MacArthur stated that the police aren't allowed to just enter a home and seize someone when no crime has been committed. What's even more shocking is that Miss Karen's lawyers said police reports the officers filed contradicted the videos. Officer Colthorpe wrote in his report that Miss Karen's feet came out from under her while he was attempting to escort her to the ground. Meanwhile, Officer Holshoff wrote in his report that he did not observe Officer Colthorpe use any use of force takedowns. Soon after this, the police chief placed Officer Colthorpe on paid administrative leave, and Officer Holshoff remained on active duty. Then, in early 2017, a settlement was reached. The town of Heinsberg paid Miss Karen $60,000. A couple months later, on April 30th, 2017, Officer Colthorpe voluntarily resigned. Be sure to check out our previous video where we covered another outrageous police encounter.